I decided to do an impromptu K Nicole After Dark. So I hope that y'all are doing well this evening. I'm your host, K Nicole. We do have past episodes that are on YouTube, so you can definitely check them out. The link is in the bio, or you can always go to the YouTube World of K Nicole, and you'll be able to find it there. A sneeze is coming on. Excuse me. Sneezing. So, I'm taking my sip of my wine, and let's get started for the evening. For those that don't know, my hair oil is still up for orders. You can get any orders that you want on Etsy. Hey, good evening. So, I wanted to come to you guys this evening to talk about feminine energy. The reason why I want to talk to you guys about that today is because I constantly hear about women being aggressive and not being feminine, right? So you hear this a lot of times, right, in the Black community, of women being very masculine and not having feminine energy, which, as we know, history and socially and culturally, that women had to be the head of household in a lot of their households, because a lot of the Black men were being grabbed up for incarceration for petty crimes, this, that, and the third. So masculine energy, right, is seen as being logical, right? Being aggressive, being one task focused. Certain things that you find when you're in the corporate world, when you're working, right? You'll see these traits. Now, women, of course, had to be very somewhat aggressive, serious, focused, all of those things, when many of them were not, when many of them had to be the head of household, right? So you can also find this energy if you have women that are in boss or managerial positions, right? You'll be able to find them. You'll be able to say that, your boss, if she's feminine, might be we would say aggressive, or use masculine terms, right? To describe her. Now, we are both, as men and women, have masculine and feminine energy. But often, many Black women are accused of having masculine energy because they're considered aggressive because of how they talk or how they have to handle things. Like I said, historically, women have had to be the head of household in many Black homes in America. Okay, so having that historically, we can see that that's why a Black woman would be most likely aggressive, having to be the head household, having to go to work, having to deal with other masculine energies at work, having to position herself in a way that she is respected and seen as an equal with her colleagues. So what is this feminine energy, right, that we're discussing? Well, feminine energy, which I must say was very interesting, because I did my research, and when I'm looking up what is considered feminine energy, it was very disparaging. It was very negative. Some of the things that, like I said, I always have notes. I always write things down. They had that a woman being in her feminine energy was being dependent, right? Was being talkative, was difficult in decision making, right? Nurturing, creative, but also that she's easily impressionable, right? And I can say that those kind of like, those are very archaic ideals of how a woman, or the feminine traits that you would say that a woman has, are like not even existent, because decisions. I know women that are very, independent, but that's the part of the trait that they're saying is masculine, right? Because so many of us black women are independent out here, and we act like we don't need a man for anything and stuff like that. And there are some women that do feel that way. I'm not one of them. I believe in feeding my masculine energy as well as my feminine energy. And and looking at that, I decided to focus on the energy of just people. Not really saying if you're masculine or feminine, but if you want to attune to your feminine energy, right? Then these are some of the things that you can do. Because again, the feminine energy and masculine energy we both have, it's about how it's expressed, right? And oftentimes, masculine energy is valued higher, right, in our society, because you have to be a breadwinner, you have to be out here, you have to be a go-getter. All of that energy is masculine energy. So in a world where we have to be hustlers and go-getters and everything like that, how could you not say a woman has to have at least some masculine energy, right? But again, to get back to the feminine energy is to reflect, right? So to think about things, to, analyze things is a very feminine energy. So that is something that you can do. Like I said, this is about just the feminine energy. It doesn't matter if you're masculine or feminine. It's just the energy that can be expressed. This is what I'm talking about right now. So the first one was reflect. Thinking about things is going back to your feminine energy. Now, another way of doing that is being around nature, right? Nature is feminine, Mother Earth. So it's very feminine. Nature is very feminine. So to get back to your feminine energy, just be in a forest, be in a park, be in some place where there's green, there's beauty, there's life, right? Because the life force is feminine, right? Because life, as we've talked about in past lives, that life throws through women, right? So that's the only way you can make a baby. So when you think about being around life and living and stuff like that, that's being your feminine energy. So you can take on that. Being creative. Creative force is feminine energy. So when you're being creative, when you're just being artful, that is going into your feminine energy. Another way a person can go into their feminine energy is being spontaneous and carefree. That is being in your feminine nature. Another way, is what they say is to be emotionally expressive, right? Which actually I should know that, right? Because masculine energy is considered being very logical. So when you're like, oh my goodness, you're so emotional, you're acting like a female, you're acting like a bitch most of the time if they're talking to a guy, that's your feminine energy. Being emotionally be able to express yourself is living in the feminine. And also being able to transform. So whenever you're feeling like you want change and everything like that, that's actually feminine energy, wanting to change and transform yourself. So those are just some of the things you can do, like I said, that are either male, that's neither male or female, that can bring on feminine energy. What I find interesting is that when men decide to say women are not being in their feminine nature, it's about what you're actually looking at. Because again, like I've stated, we have both masculine and feminine traits. And again, like I stated earlier in this live, that Black women culturally have had to be the head of household because of society and what it's been, you know, for the Black person. It's very difficult. So when you think about the strides of how Black women have had to deal in society, you can understand why that masculine energy would be there. But of course, we are innately female, so it is there. So how do you get that feminine energy expressed? Well, you feed into it by nurturing it, by saying nurturing things, sweet things, carefree things, loving things, because that's all in the feminine. So if you want a woman to build into her feminine nature, you have to give in the feminine, which is being soft, being kind, being caring, being vulnerable, so that it can meet you on that level. And the being outside of, you know, those six ways that you can be in your feminine nature, by, like I said, being around nature, being creative, being emotionally expressive, what else, reflecting, all of those things that can go into the feminine nature, again, whether you're male or female. But for a female, right, if you're already a female, to get back into your feminine place, wear dresses, smile. I mean, I know that we hate to say, like, oh, for a guy to tell us to smile and everything like that, but smiling is part of our feminine nature. To be nurturing, feminine, you know. And I just find that it's disparaging that many people will say to a woman that she's not being feminine. You have to feed into that energy. Femininity is often created through trust for us. We have to be able to trust, to be able to be soft and be, you know, that kind-hearted, you know. That's something that has to be earned. So, yeah, you have to feed into the femininity if you want a woman to be feminine. You have to be willing to meet her at that level and be caring and be kind and be vulnerable and be nurturing. Because if you meet her on aggressiveness, and, you know, that's how she'll match that energy. So it's like one has to do the opposite to, well, actually do the same to get the energy that you're looking for. And I just wanted to come to you guys briefly on this King Nicole After Dark. That's not going to be like a full session, but I wanted to come to you guys and let you know that feminine energy has to be, it has to be nurtured and has to feel safe for it to grow and for it to blossom. It's not something that is just going to come out all the time for especially for the Black female. Because historically, we've had to be aggressive. We've had to be tough to be able to survive. But yes, if a woman has a man that can nurture her feminine side, she will be feminine. She will be soft. She will be loving. She will be nurturing. She will be everything that your masculinity is desiring. But you have to nurture that first. And I think that a lot of men are not nurturing that energy and just calling a woman masculine out the gate. And I really find that to be, you know, to be kind of unfair. Because it's like, why has she been in that masculine energy? It doesn't excuse it, but at least you'll be able to understand it and then work into getting that feminine energy that you desire. rather than accusing her of being masculine and all this other stuff. Like, why is she not, feeding into her femininity? Well, for me, I'm going to say it this because she doesn't feel safe. You have to feel safe to feel that softness. I think even for men, y'all can correct me if I'm wrong, but I would think that a man is going to be aggressive and going to be, because around a female that he doesn't feel safe with, that he can be vulnerable with and show his softer side. So we have to nurture it. You have to meet that energy to receive it. And for those that are saying that, yes, women are being aggressive, well, how do you get that femininity? How do you seek it? Well, like I said, like I've stated. So for those that are just tuning in to Kina Cool After Dark, thank you for tuning in. I appreciate you. We have episodes that are once a week that are on YouTube, so you can definitely check out any past videos on the YouTube. The links are in the bio, or you can also go to YouTube and type in World of K Nicole. Please like and subscribe. Definitely. Taking that step. But yeah, I encourage the next time that you talk to a woman and say that she's not being feminine, or if you're in a relationship with a woman that's not feminine, that giving you that feminine energy, inquire why. Because I'm sure she wants to provide that feminine energy for you. She just doesn't feel safe enough to do it. And for me, being in my feminine energy is laughing and being flirty, and that's when I feel very feminine and very, very sexy and attractive is when I can be lighthearted. I'm joking, I'm laughing, like they said in one trait that women are talkative when we feel comfortable, when we're in our femininity. But it's the femininity is shown in our safe place. I think for both men and women, the feminine energy can only be expressed when you feel safe. And the masculine energy is always going to be there when a person they don't feel like they're in a place where they can come out and be their authentic self in that way. So I think it's very important that we explore both our masculine energy and feminine energy, but we understand why someone is not, especially for a female, if she's not embracing that feminine energy from the get-go. So that's my little spiel on that. I'm not going to take too much of your guys' time on a Sunday. Continue to enjoy it. Continue to have a fabulous evening. I will see you guys on Wednesday when I do my official K Nicole. I definitely wanted to come to you guys real quick about the feminine energy, because I just find that it's very disparaging on why it's considered a negative to have the masculine energy. But the thing is that you need both in this world to survive. You need to be strong, but you also need to be soft. You also have to be, there's times you have to be dependent, and sometimes you have to be independent, when you ask for help and things of that nature. And so there's an ebb and flow. And I just think that there's not enough grace for women that are in their aggressive and their masculine energy. Because they have no other, they don't have another way to express it. They don't have a way to express it because they don't feel safe. So, yeah. So I bid you guys adieu. Have a great evening, and thank you for tuning in quickly to K Nicole After Dark. Take care.